Hi, it's Stephen here from Animation Wave, and this is day 4 of the March daily draws. So let's see what message we get today, and I'll be taking the first card from the Tarot of the Witch's Garden, followed by an Oracle card from the Seasons of the Witch, Ostara Oracle. So let's choose our first card and get the reading underway. Okay, here we go. And we have the Emperor. So, working in our authority, what we are responsible for, we have authority over. We can make the decisions, and we have to be perhaps creating some plans, organizing things a bit. We need to be practical, organized. We need to make decisions, enlist the help. We need to get things done. We're literally, in control of this. We direct this. Maybe you're in a managerial role in your work or some other supervisory role where you've got a leadership sort of position, and it's up to you to get a project fulfilled or achieve a goal. And maybe you have a team under you that you need to give responsibilities to, individual ones. You need to sort of like divide up the responsibilities, ascribe different roles to different people. And you are there to oversee that and bring it all together and link everything up. And even if we're not in a position like that in our work, in our lives, there are things that is up to us to organize. We have responsibilities to organize things, to get things done, to create routines, perhaps, dealing with the the day-to-day running of things. And we need to bring it all together. And we may or may not have help. We may or may not have a team. But ultimately, even if there are others involved, we're perhaps, this is about things that we are ultimately, the buck stops with us. Other people may be doing little things to help, but ultimately, the whole thing's our responsibility. And what doesn't get done by others falls to us, because we are ultimately responsible. So this is about authority, responsibility, organization, structural things. This is about creating structure and order and organization in our lives. Some of us are better at that than others. Some of us need to be more flexible and more freestyle, more go with the flow kind of thing. But even then, it has to be, even the free-flowing energy needs to be channeled. So it needs boundaries through which to work. Otherwise, it just dissipates and doesn't achieve anything. So a certain amount of structure and organization, even a bare minimum, is necessary for things to come together and work towards the accomplishment of a goal. So we may be thinking about, are there ways in which we can bring more order and more effective structures and routines and organization to what we're involved in? And what are our strengths in this? What are our weaknesses in this? How can we play to our strengths? How can we structure things so that our strengths are given the best role in this and minimize the impact of any weaknesses we may have? And can we strengthen any of those weaknesses? So this is about overseeing the things we need to do and getting them done in practical ways where it requires structural routines and organization and, maybe a bit of logical thinking. Um, so, we've got that energy to take hold of. And as I say, for some of us, it doesn't, some go term, they can do that more naturally than others. It comes more naturally to them. That's what I was struggling to say. Um, and but whatever the case, as I say, the bare minimum is necessary, and we should all be able to do the bare minimum. We should have a framework, a channel, sort of like, free flowing water needs to be channeled. Otherwise, it just covers everywhere and doesn't really do much. But if we want it to be focused energy, water energy, moving in a certain direction for a certain purpose, we put sort of channels through which to flow, pipes and other things that we steer it. We steer that free flow in a certain direction. So there needs to be some guidelines put in place, some kind of structure through which to let our free flowing energy work. So even flexible, adaptive people need some kind of framework. We all need some kind of framework through which to work, because that's how the world works. So to be able to function in this world, we need at least the necessary framework in order for our energy to be productive. And if we've got routines and things like that lacking in our lives, maybe that's why we're not achieving as much, or we're not having success, and our energy is sort of all over the place. Maybe we need to bring a bit more order. We don't have to have a strict military style regimen. As I say, just enough to channel the energy and to make it more efficient is all that's necessary. If you're the kind of person that needs a great deal of structure, then do that. If you're not, then you don't need to do that. You can just leave it at the bare minimum. But we have all different personalities and different sort of ways of working, but we all need some kind of structure. So let's think about how we structure our day, we spend our time, how we organize things or not, as the case may be. Do we struggle with that? Are there simple ways we can make it a little easier, a little better, a little more effective? Doesn't have to be some great big, transformation. It could be just little things that we change here and there, could make a big difference over time. So let's think about how we organize ourselves and see how we can be more effective in our day-to-day living. Okay, so let's see which oracle card we get to go with that. Here we go. Spring rain. What awaits will water the resilience that evolves amid surrender. So we've built a resilience. We've built, and we're bringing the rain. The spring rain comes to the earth. It refreshes, and it waters the resilience. So we've built up a resilience, even through maybe we struggled through. We've kept things going, but maybe some of the changes we can make will be refreshing. Will refresh our lives. It won't be restrictive. We're not putting in structures to be restrictive, but rather to free us perhaps more and to bring a fresh way of doing things that will ultimately perhaps make it easier for us and give us a more easier flow of energy that's more effective, rather than wasteful energy doesn't achieve much because we haven't put the right boundaries and structures and organization in place. As I say, it doesn't have to be a big overhaul of organization. It could just be simple things that we do, the ways that we do it, that will improve the effectiveness and the flow of energy in our lives, and it will come like spring rain to water the seeds that we're sowing and trying to grow in our lives, and will bring about a better harvest of results at the end of the day. But the spring rains come to bring nourishment and water to, and to nourish the earth and to encourage growth, with plants and flowers and all the natural creative energies of the world around us. We need that kind of rain in our lives, metaphorically speaking, and some of that could be to bring a little bit more order, or think about why we're doing what we're doing and if we could do it any better. And that is the message of the cards today. Okay, so that is today's message. I'll be back tomorrow with day 5. Until then, thank you for listening. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again very soon. Okay, bye-bye.